And a very good morning to everyone. Welcome to the Dice Tower. A normal week. One of the few normal weeks we're having this summer, because last week was a truncated week because of the coming back from Dice Tower East. The week before that was Dice Tower East. This week is normal. Next week is Summer Spectacular. The week after that is Gen Con. And then normality for a while, but then World Series of Board Gaming coming up, and then Essen. Lots of interesting things. I'm actually excited about the future. You know, I wouldn't want us to have just the same old boring weeks. That being said, whenever there's a normal week, we're kind of like, yay. Except this week's not really normal because a good chunk of it's being spent prepping for the Summer Spectacular, which, by the way, Mike DeLisio is coming in for. And then also we're prepping for Gen Con and the Dice Tower Awards happening at Gen Con. So, good morning, this is my Q&A. I now do this every other week, every other Monday. The other Monday is Board Game Breakfast, which has changed considerably. Chris, Wendy, and Roy did a great job of it last week, and if you thought Board Game Breakfast was getting stale, well, we got rid of the toast, and now you have some really good stuff to look at, some new ideas and different things going on. John says, well, I thought that Q&As were Fridays now. Those are group Q&As, and those will also be every other week. So there won't be one of those this week. Or maybe there will be. No, there was going to be one this week. This week will be a special Q&A of sorts. This week, me and Chris on Friday are going to be talking about the checked out games from the Dice Tower East Library. You know, me and Chris like the stats like that. So we have all the games that weren't checked out at all, games that were checked out, what games were the most checked out. So we're going to talk about that on our channel on this coming Friday. And I saw someone in the here had asked what was coming out from the Dice Tower this week. So I will give you a quick rundown on what is coming from us this week here on the Dice Tower. So I'll tell you all kinds of stuff. So here's what you can look forward to. Today at 1 o'clock, we'll be doing We'll Play It Live, where we play some new games for the first time and see how they work. Weekend Review already went up. Eric's 20 through 11 is going up. Next week, the top 10s are happening, and several of them will be joint top 10s. So you'll see that next weekend during the Summer Spectacular. Tomorrow, Boring Unboxing. Mike is reviewing Scoventier. Sale, What's Happening. Zeta's What's Happening, and Wendy's top 20 through 11. Wednesday, Look Back, Silicon Valley, Crowd Surfing, and Roy's 20 through 11. Thursday, Board Game Smorgasbord. Sushi Go, Spin Some for Dim Sum. The best-selling games of June, live party games we're doing, and Chris is doing his 20 through 11. Friday, you got the board game news, most played games at Dice Tower East. I just mentioned that. Favorite game Friday. Everdell, Farshore, and Camilla's 20 through 11. And then over the weekend, we got a couple unboxings going up, a couple of my rapid-fire roundup type things. I did one last week. I made some changes in it, if you haven't seen it, where I'm doing quick overviews. It kind of quadruples the amount of work into one of these, but I think it's much more useful. One of the reasons we're doing that is because we are cutting these roundup reviews. We're cutting them off into little ones and then posting them on Dice Tower Encore. Dice Tower Encore now is a channel. If you want one little mini review a day, you might get two once in a while, but it will almost always be one. You think Dice Tower is too much content? This is a place that you can subscribe to, and you know you're just getting one, max 2 videos a day. And also, hey, it helps us out if you subscribe over there. It's a smaller channel. But it also lets us put the different games in the different categories on Board Game Geek. So if you're wondering about a specific game, you can watch a quick review of it. Anyway, I took the roundups and kind of, I made them more mini review than anything else. So hopefully you enjoy that. We got a review and a couple other reviews, and Joey's 20 through 11. And I'm not telling you all the reviews we're doing each week because it's always possible that a few reviews will change due to various circumstances. So just keeping you updated with a little bit of what's coming on this week. Alrighty, so let's go here. Tell Wendy happy belated birthday from all of us. Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I was going to say it to her when she walked in today and I completely forgot. So thanks for reminding me. Happy birthday to Wendy. This every other Monday isn't working. It's the start of the week. If you do something every other week, it shouldn't be the first day. I don't understand that completely. Are you saying that the first day of the week should always be the same? Well, maybe, but I'm not going to do it that way. Just trying it out. Will we see a Dice Tower West Annex shirt in the future? Maybe. You know, there's a lot of shirts that people ask for, and then we made a couple, and then no one really, a few people buy them. You have to have a lot of people want something for it to be worth it. I've not played Frostpunk, but several other people here at the Dice Tower have played it, so you can check it out. When's the last time you played Shards of Infinity? In its review, it was compared a lot to Star Realms, and so was Star Wars here. Are those two any way like? Star Wars is a little bit like Shards of Infinity, but I like Shards of Infinity better. In the video was Shut Up and Sit Down, you mentioned you're teaching cosmic counterdowns in science and can onboard new people with ease. Any chance you create a video of you explaining the game? Maybe. To explain a game on video is a lot of work. There's a reason Rodney Smith doesn't pump out tons of videos. It's a good chunk of time doing that. Maybe, but at the Dice Tower, we haven't really delved into teaching games yet. We might do that at some point, but right now a lot of other people do a really good job at it, and I don't know that we have the bandwidth. Has anyone in your house beaten Tears of the Kingdom yet? My son beat it, and my daughter beat it. They both beat it, I think, the same day. It was a bit of a race. I have made no effort to beat it. For those of you in the know, I suppose, I have beaten 4 of the 5 temples. I probably could go beat the 5th one, but I'm hunting down random stuff right now. My main goal is to pump up my armor. I don't know why I like doing that so much. I just like being able to walk into bad guys and just roll right over them. So I'm going around, finishing up some shrines. I'm really slow at a lot of parts of this game. I think I've only done 65 shrines in the game, but I've done many, many, many caves. I really like caves and sky islands and stuff. I don't know. I just run around and do stuff. I still haven't even explored the depths completely yet, although I did a good chunk of that last night. I don't play that much, honestly. My son plays a lot more than I do, but I'm still enjoying the game. I enjoyed the new format of Board Game Breakfast. Any possibility it could return to a weekly show? Well, no, not right now. A lot of I'm changing a lot of things to bi-weekly because I think bi-weekly is just helpful in general. It keeps people from burning out and doing something all the time. Even this is one of the easiest shows we do, right? For me, just to sit here and answer questions. I mean, I wouldn't say anything is particularly super easy, but this is definitely one of the easier ones. You know, seeing me every week and doing it every week gets kind of a little repetitive. I know that everyone's going to want bi-weekly stuff, but I think bi-weekly is better for the Dice Tower and just everyone's kind of jive, you know, as we do these different things. It makes it easier to prepare. It makes it better. We still have Smorgasbord as a weekly show, Crowd Surfing as a weekly show, and those are the only 2 that are weekly now, I think. And Crowd Surfing is weekly because if we went to every other week, there's just too many projects to cover. We used to do Crowd Surfing bi-weekly. Board Game Smorgasbord is weekly, and who knows, maybe that will change to bi-weekly. But there's also a lot of board game news, and that's one of the tenets of that show. How long is the process to take a game from opening it to review is ready to be released typically? People maybe not believe me, but the process can be anything from over a year to under a week. It really can be. It all depends on the game and what happens. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on the Spiel des Jahres winners? Well, I told Chris this morning I'm feeling pretty good. My predictions were right. I think it might be the first time I've ever got them both right. Maybe I've done it before, but other than that, they're fine. I don't like Dorfromantik that much on a personal level, but it's a game a lot of other people like. Any advice for people putting together their first local game conventions? Really talk to other people. I kind of got hosed in the first Dice Tower retreat. I did it by myself and made a pretty big error in the contracts. I feel like the hotel took me for a little bit of a ride. Hotels are not particularly your friend. You really got to remember that when you go in. They're going to be super nice, and it's possible. We've occasionally run into a few people at hotels who are above and beyond being nice, but they are trying to make money. And they operate on a different level. Like in the board game business, people are, for lack of a better term, not always super professional to a good fault in a sense, because they're just nice and, oh, you want to do this? Here's some games, whatever. Hotels do not give out much for free. And so that is one of the biggest deals in doing that. And then just getting people to come, just decide what you're going to want and then stick with that. One thing I learned from running our different conventions is that you cannot please everybody. You cannot even get close to pleasing everybody. And so people are not going to be happy with what you do, but you need to pick a vision and stick with that. The thing I always tell people is listen to everybody, but don't listen to anybody. By that I mean, if a lot of people are saying something, it's a good thing to listen to. If a few people or one person's really loud about something, that you can kind of just not worry about usually. You should listen and consider stuff, but you have to take what most people want, or at least even what you want as a vision. What do you think of the new card acquisition of Marvel Snap and the Spotlight cards? I mean, I play a 3-cost deck with Wong and Odin. I really like it, actually. It made me play Marvel Snap more last week, because they now, as you level up, they have these new things you get where you get one of 3 cards, a pool of 3 cards, and I got one, and I was like, ooh, what is it? And it was a variant. Variants are, to me, are, okay, they're cool, but who cares? I want new cards. The other 2 were new cards. So I worked and played a lot just so I could get to the other one before they brought out 3 new cards, which is tonight, I think. So I got Jean Grey, which is one of the new cards, which is cool. But yeah, they're giving out more cards. I like the way they're doing it. Marvel Snap is just a hugely more interesting game now that there are multiple interesting cards in it. Gaming Rules did a board game quiz show with different members of the board game community. The questions were well thought out and tricky. I don't know how well I would do. What do I do to wind down and relax? I'll watch a movie with my family or play a video game. That's usually what I would do to wind down and relax. If money was not a constraint, which theme park would you most like to visit? I don't know. I haven't been to like some of the Six Flags parks. I guess those would be cool. I still haven't been to Hershey Park, which saddens me. I grew up in Pennsylvania. But as a kid, we were just too poor to go to Hershey Park, so we never went. I was always like, man, I want to go to Hershey Park, which has never happened. What Gen Con games are you looking at checking out? I haven't really put a lot of effort into that schedule, but part of our Summer Spectacular next week will be a Gen Con preview. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Oh, there we go. Will there be a Gen Con preview video? Yes, it's scheduled as part of our Gen Con, part of our Summer Spectacular. We'll have the schedule for our Summer Spectacular up by the end of this week. Do you need a tuxedo at Dice Tower Awards, or is a nice suit enough? You know, me and Eric were talking about it because he's going to wear a tux. And I was like, I don't want to get a tux. I don't like tuxes. I never really have. So I'm wearing a suit but I think we're the only 2 people doing that. When you go on vacation, do you like to visit historical sites? Yes, I do. Although it's kind of funny because some historical sites, like I like big historical sites. Like if you say, hey, do you want to go see this hut and how people lived in this area, or do you want to see this monument? I'll always pick the monument. I just like stuff like that. I don't mind seeing the other stuff, but I'm drawn in by monuments and statues and things like that. When was the last time you traveled to Europe for a gaming convention? We went to Essen last year in Germany, or the Spiel at Essen in Germany. Dice Tower Cruise Book Now button isn't working on mobile on the website. Well, quickly email dicetowercruise@gmail.com. And he'll fix that for you. I'm not sure what the problem is there. Me and my wife were asked to run a board game small group for our church. We'll have about 30 people in it. Bring in the lightest games you can think of for a while. Games that you can teach people and then walk away from. That's the biggest thing that you'll have. Also, find out how many kids are going to be there, because kids change the tenor of a lot of things. Have you heard of this? The deck pedal hands-free studio controller? Maybe, But I don't know that I want something like that because I like having somebody over there and our different things controlling that themselves. What toppings make a hot dog? That would be, well, peppers. I'm a big fan of the Chicago dog. So peppers, kraut, chili. Those are the top 3. Onions. Well, onions might beat chili out. But those are the top 4. I love those on a hot dog. I like relish, spicy mustard. I'll try almost all kinds of stuff. Bacon bits. I love those gourmet hot dog places. You know, it doesn't belong on a hot dog? Ketchup. Barbie or Oppenheimer? I think I'm going to wait on both of them to stream. I just don't see that many movies in theaters. Joey doesn't help because he's always pushing me to go see stuff. And we now have a $5 night here in our town. But still, $5 times me and my wife is $10 plus a couple dollars tax plus, if we're going to eat popcorn and all, it's still not cheap. Streaming is just much easier and cheaper. So we just watched Indiana Jones because my wife loves Indiana Jones. But I might wait on a few of these. What are you playing on Stream Deck these days? Stream Deck has been sitting by the wayside since Tears of the Kingdom came out. When you first played Marvel Snap, did you immediately see a comparison mechanics with it in air, land, and sea like I did? Yes. If you could play any game right now, no time limit or player count restriction, what would it be? I can play any game right now. I really can. So that question doesn't mean a lot to me because I get to pick what games I play and always be, hey, let's check out one of these new games. I heard you reference the Civilization series of video games a lot when talking about 4X board games. What other strategy 4X video games do you like? I don't know if I played a lot. Alpha Centauri, but that's basically one of the Civilization line. Masters of Orion, although I haven't played that in 20 years. I don't know what other ones are out there. Have your kids seen any Wallace and Gromit movies? Probably. What are the best Korean games? I don't know. I don't normally, and I've always kind of put my foot down about making lists of games based on countries. Just let's talk about good games. That might happen someday in the future, but I don't know off the top of my head. Most of the local gaming stores in my area tried selling board games, but now have sold them all to go strictly to trading card games and role-playing games. Is there anything a layperson can do to get a community started? Sure, you can use Facebook, you can use Meetup, you can use all different Reddit, find different groups of things to get communities going. Red or black licorice? I think both are fine, but I like red better. Although I like rainbow better. I'm a big fan of Starburst, or just various flavors of licorice. In fact, at my house, I keep forgetting that I have like 20 bags of licorice because I bought them from I was at a local seafood fair, which are great. Seafood fairs are great. Go to seafood fairs. But I went to buy, there was a licorice there, and he had a deal on buying a lot at once, so I did it. Well, I wasn't going to, but he's like, you can freeze it. And I was like, oh, great. So I have it in my freezer. It's really good licorice. My favorite flavors of Jelly Bellies is the juicy pear and apricot, or peach. I'm sorry, peach and juicy pear, and then I really like the sour ones. Those are my three. The sour ones don't taste particularly different from each other, I think, but juicy pear is where it's at. What game surprised more people with how good it was on Dice Tower East? Well, that I can't speak for because I can't speak for what people were surprised by. But we'll bring some of that stuff up in our Friday video about stats. Will we ever see a Magical Athlete reprint? One can hope. What's the craziest build you've seen in Tears of the Kingdom? I don't really do a lot of the builds. I've seen some crazy stuff online, but I don't know. I don't even know if I can't even imagine people taking the time to do that. The auto build feature, I was like, yes, because I have a hard time building a cart. So I don't do a lot of crazy builds. Could you recommend me a crawler game? Do you mean dungeon crawl? Or dungeon crawl is a massive darkness. I don't know if that's what crawler means. The key lime Twizzlers were fine. They weren't amazing, but they were fine. Stellaris, if you like Master of Orion Age of Wonders, if you like Civ. Huh. I don't know what system these are for, though. Because I play most computer games on the Mac, which is not a gaming computer. I get that. So Civ's on the Mac, so I play it on the Mac. I guess I have the Steam Deck, but I don't like using the small screen for Civ games. I want them on a nice big screen so I can see everything. Or the PS5, I suppose I could do them on. Were you prepared for the backlash your top 3 Star Wars characters created on the Dice Tower Discord? We laughed about that. We laughed because it is mind-blowing to me. I think Star Wars fans are like the worst. Like the worst. We picked 3 characters. It didn't matter. And, you know, part of my justification is kind of like, well, I didn't pick Jar Jar Binks. But I could have. Like, people are like, you didn't pick this. You guys are insane. Do even Star Wars? It was really like that. I was really kind of surprised. I was entertained. I guess I could have gotten mad about it, but it just seemed so... I don't know. It just was so kind of like, what? How is this a big deal? I will have to try the Dr. Pepper Jelly Bellies. I don't think I've had them. Not need any more ideas of segments, but how about an around the world in 80 games? Start one country and have a game from or theme to that country and then on to its neighbor? Whew. That sounds like something the Brothers Murph would do. I don't know. Are you excited for the Ahsoka series? Maybe. I know this sounds bad. I'm not as excited about series that much. I see them, I think, interesting. But I'm getting a little more jaded on both Star Wars and on Marvel, right? With their new series and movies and stuff. And I still enjoy them both. But I'll just watch the series and see. I haven't watched any of Secret Invasion. I'm waiting till the whole thing's out. Yes, that's going to spoil me and stuff. I've already seen spoilers online because you can't avoid that sort of thing. But I don't know. I am excited about the new season of Futurama. I did have the orange cream Twizzlers. Those were good. Is Gen Con worth going to if only going on Sunday? I've never been to before. Well, I don't see why not. Even if you're just going to go around and shop and look at all the booths. They don't shut down till 4. So, I mean, you have only 6 hours, but you can see a lot in 6 hours. Recently found out we're having a 4th child. Any big differences between 3 and 4? I don't think so. I think the biggest difference, obviously, is having 1. I always tell people 1 is the biggest change in your life. After 1, 3 is a big change. Although for some people, 2 is a big change. It depends on how close they are together. If you wait a long time before having the second, the reaction of your first child and to the second one, I mean, it could be good, bad, whatever, but it could be a thing. When they're younger, they don't notice as quickly, or they don't ever remember not having a sibling, I guess is a better way to put it. But going from 2 to 3 is a big deal because you can no longer do man-to-man defense. You got to switch to zone. And after that, I felt 7. When my son came, I was like, whew, 7 is 7. But now I feel, I don't know, we're down to 4 kids. I mean, I got 3. I just talked to 2 of them last night. They're rooming together at college, which is nice. I talked, 3 out of the house, and that's great. But it does make it easier. When we only have 4 kids, we're like, it's so easy. I want to play Western Legends, but I think it's a bit complicated. Well, if you're playing with the expansions, definitely pull them out. Other than that, maybe, I don't know, I would take a... Again, if they think it's too complicated, then don't play with them. Find something else, probably. How's the AN Trespass campaign going? I've paused it for a while. I'm probably going to go back to it. It's still set up on the table. What's the best way to store a board game collection? I have whole videos where we talk about that, but you'll have to ask people on their different opinions on that. Go to our Facebook group. It's great. Who builds the craziest stuff in Tears of the Kingdom in the Vasel house? I don't think anybody does. Maybe my son builds some weird stuff. I don't know. Do you know any trick-taking games? I do indeed. Look up the Dice Tower's top 10 trick-taking games. The World Cup is coming to Miami? Is that true? I did not know this. Maybe I'm really... Oh, that's why he keeps talking about Lionel Messi. Ah. So the Hard Rock Stadium's hosting the World Cup 2026. Interesting. When did that happen? That happened last year. It goes to show how much I've known. So we're one of the U.S. hosts. Miami-Dade. All right. Yeah, well, I would go watch a World Cup game if I could, but tickets are probably super expensive. Maybe Jason can hook me up. Who knows? You can connect the Steam Deck to screen. Yes, you can. But I found with Civilization, there's a mouse and a keyboard and stuff involved, and it just didn't work for me. I'm moving around. You're still moving around a screen, and you hook up to a big screen. Then why not just use the computer? Any plans for further building at Dice Tower HQ now that the garage refurb is done? I have some ideas and thoughts, but not anything I'm sharing or have any solid opinions on. I've not played Outer Wilds. What brands are the crokinole boards that were at Dice Tower East? Well, I want to get this one right, so let me just double check this here. The one I had custom made for myself, but the new one, Brown Castle Games. The Brown Castle Games one was fantastic. And then the other one was from... Trying to look here. Bruce made us one, so I don't know where he got that one from. And the other one is from Wouldn't You Know. Wouldn't You Know. They both did a good job. Wouldn't You Know. But the new one from Brown Castle Games is phenomenal. I was very happy with that one. Oh yeah, the 6-player game Project Elite. I hope you enjoyed that. Have you ever been to the Netherlands? I have not. I would like to be. How did the Trey Parker top 10 come about? Well, he had asked. People didn't say my mic was all fuzzy there. There we go. Trey Parker had asked for how he could support the Dice Tower, and so I said, hey, would you like to come down and do a top 10? That was kind of it. And he said yes. And then it just took us a long time to figure out a good time for it to happen. If I could visit any national park, probably Yellowstone. I've never been there, and I really would like to go there. Is there a color combination for suspenders, hat, and shirt left? I don't know, maybe. Are we going to Essen? We are going to Essen. We're going to have a booth there. Our booth will be in Hall 3. Our recent review of Ra, is there any difference between the Kickstarter Pharaoh Pledge and Deluxe Edition? I know that I don't know exactly. You have to go look online. That's probably better. I know one has wooden tiles, one has just nice thick cardboard tiles, and metal coins to not. Again, I don't know. You'd have to go check it out. Stellaris and Age of Wonders are both on PS5. Well, maybe I'll try them out at some point. The thing with video games is I get one and I play that one for a while. Like Tears of the Kingdom I'm playing now. I'm assuming I got a month left with Tears of the Kingdom, and then I'll be good. I'll beat it, and then I'll be done. There's still lots of things I can do on it, but, you know, I'm ready to move on to other games. Besides the guest of honor, Mr. Delisio, he is not the guest of honor. Mike is part of our team. Any spoilers for the other players coming into the studio? There is no other players coming in. Rod Phelps is coming in. He lives in the local area. And Mike Delisio, and that's just it. And then us. So we're doing the Summer Spectacular. Any style of hat you wouldn't dare wear? Fez, maybe? I wouldn't wear a fez. I have worn fezzes, but I don't like hats without brims. So you can just, whatever. If a hat doesn't have a brim, I like the brims on hats. I'm planning to play Caverna with experienced gamers this weekend. Would it be too much to include the Forgotten Folk expansion for first play? You could. I don't see why. Although you have to realize Forgotten Folk actually shrinks your decision making. It kind of says you should do this rather than leaving it wide open. I would not use it for people for the first time, just because. Browncastle was at Origins. Picked up some discs and stuff from them. Oh, cool. I'm glad. Oh, crawler. So you mean dungeon crawler with miniatures where you go in a dungeon. Sure. So Massive Darkness is my choice. Although, I just started playing Tales from the Red Dragon Inn with my kids, and we are having a blast so far. I don't believe you've ever done a top 10 Civ games. Maybe. There's not that many, actually. Can you go into as much detail as possible? Spend hours about the evolution of who you used to play all the games you reviewed with when you started doing reviews up until now. I've always just played games with anyone who crosses my path. That has always been my goal. As a kid, I browbeat... Hang on. I browbeat my brothers and sisters and the kids in my neighborhood when I was a kid. When I was a teenager, I got all the kids in the neighborhood to play with me. When I went to college, I started a board game group in my college, like the third week after I was there. Didn't get a ton of people to play games, but I got some people. Yeah, I love board games. Yellowstone is awesome, says Josh. I have not played Undaunted Stalingrad yet, but I played the new Battle of Britain one, which I really enjoyed. By the way, Tom means Massive Darkness 2. What did I say? I did mean Massive Darkness 2. Do not get Massive Darkness 1. Do you South Park at all? I don't really. Were you surprised they referenced you in the show? Very much so. Is there a video of top 10 filler games? Life won't let me play 2+ hour games right now. Well, you're asking for very different things. I don't think anything less than 2 hours is a filler game. There's all sorts of games. I don't play many games that are over 2 hours either. So there is that. So we've done short game top 10s before. We might do it in the future. Who knows? Do you do consulting work in your field? I have, like 3 times. I don't normally do it. I if people ask, but and then pay for it. So I would charge to pay for it. I don't know that consulting is something I would enjoy doing. I actually like what I'm doing now. Bastion. Last Bastion. You know, I haven't played Last Bastion. I've only played Ghost Stories, so I can't give you any tips for beating it. You would have to go to the master, Mr. Z. Garcia. I also realized I just caught up on questions. I wasn't realized I was catching up so quickly. I'm giving short answers. I should have went into more detail about who I played with as asked. Clark says, how many plays of a game do you usually do with varying numbers of people before doing a review? And the answer is always the same answer. Enough. Could be any number. Depends. Okay, now people are just asking Mike DeLisio questions. It's not a Mike DeLisio Q&A. What is going on? But I will sit here and let him answer them in chat. And then later on, when people watch this later, they'll be like, what? He just sat there quietly? Well, that is the fault of not questions in the chat. So I will just take some time to relax. Thank you, Mike. You're a good soul. Oh, questions. Are there tickets for the retreat? No, there's not. The retreat sold out really, really quickly. There's a wait list, but I'm not adding new people to the wait list. It just wouldn't be fair to you. The wait list is still quite long. And so I'm sorry. I wish it hadn't sold out so quickly, but we'll see what happens in the future. Dice Tower Cruise, though, there's still tickets for that. Is there a mechanism you like on paper, but not so much in execution? I like the idea of deck building. If you have to find a game with it I like, well, then you probably don't like the idea of deck building, I guess. I don't think so. If I like it in theory, but don't like it in practice. Maybe semi-co-op. Semi-co-op sounds so cool in theory, like we're all trying to win, but only one of us can. But we could all lose. Sounds good in theory, and yet it's done so poorly in practice. So I guess that would be the one. Let's see here. What's the recent old game that has a renaissance with you? That would be Ra for sure. Is the Summer Spectacular Monday through Thursday next week? It is indeed. Because then we need to put everything in the van for the great Dice Tower van trip that's going up. And we'll be at, we're stopping at Level Up Games. And I'm going to have a video about that when this Q&A is over. I have a meeting with Level Up Games. We're going to clarify what's going on. And yeah, we're getting ready for that. Have you made a decision on PAX Unplugged for this year yet? I apologize if I've not been more public about this, but yes, we're not going to PAX Unplugged. There's several reasons involved there, but the biggest reason is we need to take some time in December. We are prepping for the Dice Tower Cruise. We're prepping for the Dice Tower Kickstarter. We're coming up at the end of the year, and we'd like to celebrate holidays with our families. So all that mixing together, something had to give, and so it was PAX Unplugged. Me not going to PAX Unplugged is going to let me do something with my family this year, and I'm just going to do that. But you'll be able to see us at other conventions. We have 3 more conventions we're going to this year, at least. Gen Con, World Series of Board Gaming, and Essen. So that's 3 more conventions you have a chance to see us at. Do you still have to browbeat your friends and family to play games for you to review, or do you just have enough people on staff now? I just play games with everybody. I ask. Even if the staff refused to play games with me, I would find other people to play games. I like playing games. When do tickets go on sale for the 2024 retreat? I don't have a date for that right now. I don't know how that's going to work. But stay tuned. We'll let you know. In the upcoming spectacular, will marbles be making an appearance? No. There wasn't enough room this year. I'm sorry. Something had to get cut, and it was marbles. Best Massive Darkness 2 expansion? For me, it's the one that adds all the new classes. I like all the different classes. Was there a top 100 game from the others at the Dice Tower you were surprised about? Probably. We're not sleeping in the van, no. Last time on a water slide, July 3rd, me and my son. So we went to Aquatica. So I always like to do something real quick and short with my family because I don't see them a lot during Dice Tower East. I'm too busy running Dice Tower East. So we get there on Sunday. On Monday night, we set up. So before Monday night setup, I spend some time with my kids in the morning. So we always go to a water park because it's too hot to go anywhere else. And this year, excessively so. So we went to Aquatica, which is the SeaWorld water park, and it's fun. So me and my son went on a water slide. He has not been on almost any water slides because he's kind of fearful of them. But we did the 2-person sit in the raft thing, and he really enjoyed that. Are you part of the Star Trek Away Missions review? I don't know yet because no one has played it, but it is scheduled. Me and Joey will be playing it this week. I'm looking to do a new con next year. It's more focused on gaming rather than buying vendors, new releases, etc. Thoughts on BGG Con versus Geekway? Well, so I guess the Dice Tower cons aren't in the mix. So no Dice Tower West or Dice Tower East or Dice Tower Cruise or Dice Tower, those 3 cons are all very focused on gaming and not on vendors. I mean, there's vendors at East and West, but they're definitely focused on vendors. On gaming. But if you don't want to go to one of those and you're going to BGG Con versus Geekway, They're both cool, but the Geekway is 100% focused on gaming. The vendor hall is almost an afterthought there. BGG is slightly bigger exhibit hall, so I guess Geekway wins in that regard. I already answered Ken's question about us doing the Gen Con preview next week in the Summer Spectacular, but I do think it's interesting. He talks about listening to the previews. I've done that before too, going back and listening to see what we were excited about in the past. It's always an interesting thing. You're like, I wonder what this game's going to be like. And yeah, that's kind of interesting to me. Do you watch any other YouTube channels in your own time that do board game reviews? Yeah, I keep an eye. I mean, I don't watch everything for sure. No one has time for that. But I look at everything once in a while. I look at the different channels. I'm always looking at new reviewers. I'm very curious. I don't see everything, but I do keep an eye on stuff. What were all the board games that you picked that went to the family who won the basement renovation with All Play? So on that note, if you haven't seen that video, folks, you should watch that video. It's from last week. All Play, they're running a Kickstarter right now for their tables and their shelves, which are great tables and shelves. But they did this thing where they had a contest and they went and renovated someone's house. And it's a really cool video. We posted it on our channel, so you definitely want to check it out. And I picked the games that went to that family. So let me see if I can find the email. It was pretty difficult, actually, because they had a lot of games that I was like, oh, you should get this game, you should get this game. Let me see here. My apologies. I don't remember what the email is. If I remembered. Okay, that's in April, June. I don't know, folks. I know I sent out a list, but I don't remember. I don't remember when it was or where it would be. I honestly don't remember. I would tell you the games I sent them, but I don't remember which one it would be. It's possible it was in an email? Sorry, folks, I don't know where that is. I'll have to look for it later. I honestly don't remember what I picked. I know I spent a good amount of time working on it. I just don't remember what the games were. You could take your family to Pax Unplugged. I think my family would very much not want to go to Pax Unplugged. What percentage of the cruise is board games versus just people on the cruise? And do those people get confused? Sure. So let's see. The ship can hold, 4,000 people. We have 800, so it's about 20%. Yeah, so it's really cool. So most people wear their badges on the cruise everywhere because it seems like an odd thing, but what you hold not just your badge in it for Dice Tower, but also your card that you use for rooms and stuff like that. And so it's just really easy to just, you walk around and I always pick a certain color. And so when you see that badge, you're like, they're part of the cruise. You nod at each other, say hi. It's really fun. People who aren't part of it, you get asked that all the time. I had lots of people. I remember this one old man in particular would call me over and he asked me questions. And then he said hi to me every time I walked by. And everyone always thinks it's a cool, great idea. If you get to have someone go, that's weird, they always think it's amazing. How long did it take to get used to the Florida humidity and heat? Again, it's definitely, I've never understood this question. Humidity, I get. If you're not from humidity, but I like humidity. Yeah, I don't like the sweat per se, but humidity, I've been in areas where it's dry and it's terrible. I'd rather have humidity than be cracked. Cracks are terrible. A little sweat is better than cracked skin. Ugh, makes me just shiver thinking about it. As for the heat in Florida, yeah, Florida's hot, but it's really hot right now. But you know what I've noticed? It's really hot everywhere in America right now. Like really hot. We're not the only place that's hot. Everywhere's hot. And here in Miami, it's fantastic. I was just in Orlando. Orlando's hotter than Miami because we got breezes. My niece had her 18th birthday party near Biscayne Beach this past Saturday, and I went there and I was like, oh, it's gonna be hot. And we were in this pavilion, and the wind coming off the bay was amazing. It felt great. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to work outside here and everything, but it's hot here, but it's hot everywhere. But then in the winter, it's amazing, amazing. Also, we have the best air conditioning in the world here. It's fantastic. It's cool. If your air conditioning breaks down, there's like 80 places that will fix it. It's like calling an ambulance. You move out. You go to you stay in a hotel or something. I don't know. I don't mind heat. How tall am I? 6'4". Any good comics you've been reading lately? I read. So I'm part of a few Facebook groups that just show like single pages of comics, and every once in a while they get me interested. So I went back and read some old Superman, like some Superman Origins issues from the 80s. And I was excited because I saw a few panels that I distinctly remember reading as a kid. Where like Superman's stopping some bank robbers and he punches them and knocks them out. And then a woman's like, you wouldn't hit a woman? He's like, no. And then he flicks her and knocks her out. I don't see how that's any different than hitting a woman. But anyhow, that was fun to read. And I read the Batman Joker where they killed each other or something. I was very confused. It was a confusing comic. But then I just read some of the End series that Marvel has done. Like they have Captain America, The End, and Hulk, The End. These came out a few years ago and they were pretty good. I really liked, the Hulk one was okay. I really liked the Captain America one. And now I'm reading, and then I read Marvel Universe The End, which is a completely different series, which was okay. Some Pharaoh guy gets superpowers and Thanos stops him. Thanos, in the comics, Thanos, they're overusing Thanos in the last couple decades, honestly. With the new Modular Sinister 6 mode coming to Marvel United, do you have a lineup you're going to try first? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Who would if I'm picking 6 for Marvel Sinister 6? Well, I picked Green Goblin, Doc Ock, although those two wouldn't get along very well, Sandman, because why not? I'll have to do the movie, right? So those 3. I would also pick Rhino, although he's annoying as an enemy in that game. But I would try him. Maybe in the Sinister 6 would be interesting to go against him. So for those 4, Mysterio for 5, and then for 6, is Chameleon in the game yet? I'd pick Chameleon. I'm in the Midwest, so Dice Tower cons are just a little too far from my budget. Okay. Well, how is going down to Dallas that much cheaper? I get why you would want to go to St. Louis. Are there going to be hot games tables at the retreat? No. The retreat, everything's hot. There's plenty of space there. Do you already know what will be permanently set up on the cruise? So last cruise, did we have any games permanently set up? We might have had one from a sponsor, but that was it. And the cruise before that, I set up Arc Nova because I knew it would be very popular. This year, probably not, but who knows? Oh, someone posted the video in the chat about about seeing the all-play thing. It's very, very good. When am I going back to Brazil? I have no plans as of this moment. Is there such a thing as round gaming tables? Maybe, but they would need to be a very specific size. Like the big 6-foot tables, or however, they're not 6 foot, but the 4-foot, I don't know how big they are. The big round banquet tables at conventions are too big. but then you get small ones that are like a card table size. They're too small. You need something in between. Maybe there's such a thing. The only way I'd want a round gaming table is if the two of the round sides folded down, and then it could become still a rectangular one. Have I seen or been to the All Play Bunker? Well, I've seen it because I've had discussions with them. It sounds cool, but I've never been there. Have you golfed before? I've not in my life once went golfing. Now, I have done miniature golfing. I love putt-putt. I don't like calling it putt-putt. It sounds... It's funny because to me, putt-putt sounds like a kid's way to say it. It was miniature golf. And yet, I call table tennis ping pong. But I don't know. Anyway, miniature golf, I like doing it. There's a lot of courses in Orlando. Although, I've yet to find one in Orlando I thought was amazing. My favorite miniature golf course in my whole life is in Pennsylvania, but I can't remember where it was. I remember it was peacocks walking around the course. I don't remember where it is in Pennsylvania, but it was a fantastic miniature golf course. I'll never forget that one. I just forget where it was. I was a teenager at the time. And then I went to a couple cool ones that are, there's a really good one across the river from Niagara Falls in Canada. It's like glow in the dark. That one's pretty neat. There's a glow in the dark one in Orlando too that I enjoyed. At Deezerland. If you've never been to Deezerland in Orlando, you should go there. Anyhow, anyway, I'm at golf. But I've never actually golfed. I don't really have the urge to. It's a very expensive sport. I think I'd be pretty bad at it. You'd have to practice to get good at it. It doesn't look like the kind of thing you could do just for fun. That's the way I feel about it. Will I ever return to UK Games Expo? It's possible. My birthday's next week. Any particular games that you like to play around your birthday with your kids? No, I just play whatever I have. Favorite summer theme games to play around this time of year? No, I just play whatever. I don't theme my games to the time or date. Maybe Halloween games, maybe Christmas games, but other than that, I just play whatever, whenever. Without going into more detail than you are comfortable, can I ask the general question, is the majority of the Dice Tower revenue stream from YouTube ads? No. The majority of Dice Tower revenue comes from our Kickstarter that we run each year in January. Time to stand, Tom. Oh, did you see it on my watch? Oh, it does show it, just showing it here. I'll stand when I want to. I just recently described Button Shy games. If anything else, well, Z just did his top 10 favorite Button Shy games. Check it out on our channel. Last Cruise, no game was set up as Hot Games. Heat could probably have been because it was checked out constantly. Sure. Yeah, but I don't know. The library's huge. We had 2,200 games. So at any given point, there's like maybe, I don't know, so there's 800 people on the cruise. At any given point, 400 of them are gaming. So that's 100 games at most. There's plenty of time. Have you ever created a board game? Well, go to Board Game Geek, look up Tom Vasel, the designer, and then look up other better designers. Glow in the Dark Twilight Zone mini golf in Vegas is fun. You know, I went and looked at that. That's underneath Bally's, and I was going to do it. I just didn't want to do it by myself. But I bet I actually have a thought that I'm going to do it maybe when I go to World Series of Board Gaming this year, since the World Series of Board Gaming is in Bally's, so I might go to the Twilight Zone mini golf. Disc golf, I've played that a few times. I like that better than I like that idea better than golf. I'm probably just as bad at throwing a frisbee. Disc golf, I would only want to go with people who are not amazing at it, because some people take disc golf very seriously too. Or if I went with someone very serious in disc golf, someone who's not going to give me a hard time for being terrible at it. Will the last videos of the top 10 be group videos? Mostly. Eric Summer is not able to make it down for our Summer Spectacular. he will be at Gen Con with us, which is the following week. So his will be solo, but the rest will be in groups. Thoughts on the Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings? Well, you'll see those thoughts this week. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Whatever happened to your Hero Quest board game? I don't know anything happened to it. I guess I got rid of it. Is Heat widely available yet? Well, yes-ish. I mean, it's not widely available, but that's just because they're in between print runs. So I'm sure they'll make more of them. So we'll see. All right, just a few more questions, and then I got to get going because we got stuff to do. We'll be back here at 1 o'clock today doing We'll Play It Live, which is just a few hours from now. Even good disc golf players have bad throws. I don't think there's any problem with getting called out for a bad throw. Well, sure, but if all your throws are bad, I don't know that I would want to be called out for every single one. It's a fine line, right? Because you don't want maybe them to coddle you, but you don't want also them to... It's like when you play... I still remember when I was a kid, I'd play those two-player fighting games, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, against people who were really good, and they just beat the snot out of you, and then they would mock you, and you're like, well, this isn't fun at all. A new Tiger Woods mini golf course in Arizona? No, because I've never been to Arizona, actually. Do you plan on doing an Etsy segment for board game upgrades? I did one for a while, and I might come back and do it again. I do Etsy in spurts. I haven't been on Etsy for a few weeks, so that's probably good. I wait till there's a bunch of games out, and then, hey, we're getting close to another convention. Let's upgrade the board game library. Is a review for Witcher Old World incoming? It will get reviewed. When, I don't know. It's not happening this week. Oh, no one would call you out. That's what you meant. I got it. Love the channel, says Martin. Well, that's very nice of you. And I appreciate everybody watching our stuff. I don't say that probably enough, but we do realize that the viewers are there. And everyone is not always thrilled with the different changes, but I'm always trying to make our channel better. It's something I think about, live about, breathe, you know. I'm really proud of our reviews these days. I think we're doing a much better job having multiple voices on reviews, and I think we're getting some interesting things said about the games. I tried to get into the Q&A several times, but even notifications, it didn't seem to work. Oh, sorry. Well, I'm glad you made it here for the end. Dice Tower East was my first gaming convention, really fun. However, do you announce upcoming Dice Tower cons? A decent amount in the future. I know that Dice Tower East tickets are going on sale in November for next year. Dice Tower Cruise tickets are on sale right now. Dice Tower West tickets, maybe September they go on sale. So, when is the next top 100? Well, next year. Next year. We're finishing up our top 100s now, and then we're going to do a bunch of other things as time goes by. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody watching. I'm going to end just a tad short today, a few seconds short. But I just want to say thank you for watching our show. We will see you back here at 1 o'clock for We'll Play It Live. It's going to be an insane game. I can see it right there. Come back. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Q&A on the Dice Tower. What? I still don't have the end thing? Maybe it works here. Nope. I need to find this main out file. I was supposed to find it last time, and I asked Roy where it was. I think this happened last time I did a Q&A. So, oh no, I'm getting an important phone call that I need to do. Well, that means I'm just going to end. So, ending now. See y'all.